Welcome back, everybody. Get ready to dive deep because today we're looking at a speech from 1973 by Loren C. Dunn.
Okay.
And this was given to an audience mostly unfamiliar with, well, with the LDS faith.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he's talking about the Bible and the Book of Mormon.
Huh.
Specifically, Dunn is really digging into how the Book of Mormon, he says, acts as another testament to the life and the teachings of Jesus Christ.
So, like, how the Book of Mormon fits in with the Bible, especially for folks who might not be super familiar with it.
Exactly. And he does it in a really interesting way. Like, he starts by emphasizing the common ground between, everyone listening.
Oh, trying to build a bridge there. I like it.
Yeah. He actually says, during the few minutes that I am before you, I would like to address my remarks to those who are not of this faith. And since we are all the children of God, I would like to refer to you as my brothers and sisters.
Smart move. He's establishing that shared humanity right off the bat before, getting into the heavier theological stuff.
Okay, so with that foundation laid, he jumps right in. He says that Easter has a double meaning for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Double meaning. Okay, now for someone who's not, steeped in LDS beliefs, what's the significance there?
That's where the Book of Mormon comes into play. He's setting up this idea that just as there were multiple witnesses to Christ's resurrection in the Bible, the Book of Mormon, it's like a second witness.
A second witness, like a separate testament, but still confirming those core Christian beliefs.
Exactly. Not just adding to the Bible, but providing another angle, another perspective on those same truths.
And how does he back that up?
Well, he gets into some really specific scriptural comparisons.
Oh, like what?
So he points to John 11.25 from the Gospel of John, where Jesus says, the very famous, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live.
Okay, super familiar. Everyone knows that one. So what does he pair that with from the Book of Mormon?
He pulls from 3 Nephi 11, 8 through 11, I believe.
Okay.
It describes this scene of Christ appearing after his resurrection, but to a group in, well, the Americas this time.
Interesting. So Christ appearing to people in the Americas.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not just the event itself. It's the language used in both passages.
Mm-hmm.
There are these echoes. It's almost like Dunn wants us to notice the parallels, to say, look, these two texts, they're speaking about the same divine truth.
That mirroring effect. That has to be intentional, right?
It has to be. But the question is, what's he trying to achieve? Is he trying to make the Book of Mormon feel less, foreign to someone who's grounded in the Bible?
Yeah.
Or is there something deeper going on?
Yeah, good question. Because on the one hand, yes, similar language, that can create a sense of familiarity, a continuation of a story you already kind of know. But then again, it could also point to a shared spiritual origin, a thread connecting these two texts on a much deeper level.
Really makes you think about the power of language, right? How these subtle echoes, they can create these connections across time, across different texts. And he doesn't stop there. He goes on to say that the Book of Mormon isn't just about, validating what's already in the Bible. He says it expands on things.
It expands how so?
Particularly when it comes to the what he calls the plan of salvation.
The plan of salvation. Okay, now this is interesting because this is where we start to see a bit of a divergence, right?
Right.
Because while affirming Christ's divinity is, obviously central,
Right.
Dunn also seems to be emphasizing these unique contributions the Book of Mormon brings to the table. He's hinting at this more comprehensive roadmap to salvation.
He is.
Which, he doesn't really go into detail on this part. But I'm sure everyone listening is wondering, okay, what does that even look like? What's in this roadmap?
Right. He's definitely piquing their curiosity. And then he does something really interesting. He addresses the big question I think everyone's thinking, which is,
let me guess. Where on earth did this Book of Mormon come from?
where did this Book of Mormon come from?
Yeah.
He knows that's what people are wondering.
Of course. And instead of shying away from it, he leans right in. Dunn tells that whole story of Joseph Smith, right?
Yeah.
Discovering and translating those ancient plates. But he does it very strategically. He's really aiming for credibility here.
And he brings in other people to back up the story.
Exactly. He brings in those testimonies, those people who said they saw those plates with their own eyes.
Oh, wow. So he's quoting them directly.
Yeah. Directly, letting them kind of speak for themselves through his words. And you can imagine, right, someone hearing this for the first time. It'd be one thing to hear about golden plates, but to hear people saying, I saw them?
That would be something else.
Yeah.
It's a bold move for sure. And it shows just how high the stakes are here, because Dunn isn't just saying, hey, here's this interesting book. He's saying, this is divine. This is truth.
which, comes with a whole other level of expectation.
Absolutely. And that leads us to, I think, the most compelling part of Dunn's speech here. It's that call to action. He doesn't just dump information and leave it there. He challenges the listener to do something.
Like what?
He says, read the Book of Mormon, read it with an open heart, and pray about it.
He's basically saying, don't just take my word for it, right? Go see for yourself.
Exactly. It's about personal experience. He's inviting his audience to go on a quest, basically, to wrestle with these ideas, come to their own conclusions.
And that really gets to the heart of what he's saying about the Book of Mormon. It's not just blind faith, is it?
Not at all. It's about personal revelation, having that aha moment, but for yourself.
I like that. And, it goes back to the idea of the second witness, right?
It does. It's not just about accepting another book as an authority. It's about, finding that confirmation yourself, that personal spiritual connection to what the book is saying.
So how does Dunn suggest people do that?
Well, he actually, he quotes the Book of Mormon itself from Moroni, chapter 10, verses 3 through 5. And it basically encourages people to pray, to ask God if the book is true. And it promises that if they do that with a sincere heart, they'll get that confirmation, that personal revelation through the Holy Ghost.
So it's more than just reading words on a page.
Way more. It's about active engagement, seeking a deeper meaning, but through prayer, through personal reflection. And I wonder, thinking back to his audience in 1973, how did that hit them?
Yeah. I mean, talk about a challenge, right?
Right.
Here you are, you're hearing this for the first time. Maybe you're a little skeptical, maybe you're hooked. And then, boom, you're asked to not only read this whole other book, but to pray about it, too.
It definitely raises the stakes, takes it from, intellectual curiosity to something way more personal.
Way more. And it makes me wonder, thinking about that audience, what would they even use to evaluate that kind of claim?
That is a really good question. Because it's not like people haven't claimed to have new scriptures or divine revelations since 1973.
Not at all. It happens all the time.
Exactly. So, as we're coming up from this deep dive into Dunn's speech, I think that's the question we're left with. What if today someone said, hey, I've got these new scriptures, they prove Christ. What would you do?
Oh, man.
What would make you believe them? Or not? How could you even tell if it was, the real deal?
That's a question that goes way beyond just, this one guy or this one book, doesn't it?
It really does.
It gets at, the core of faith itself. How do we decide? What do we believe? And maybe even more importantly, why?
Big questions.
Big questions. And on that note...
Keep diving, everybody.